Good evening and a pleasant welcome to another show on our platform here. I'm your host, as always, Ricky Ali. And I want to say to our viewer out there who are watching the show via Facebook and YouTube, I want to say welcome to the Rahim Show. And you might want to hit the like button, share the podcast, and make some comment. We will highly appreciate you for that. Just for a short time today, we're going to dive into something interesting about our country, Liberia, and we are going to talk about youth capacity building in Liberia. So, for some reason, you want to be a part of the show, there is a number on the screen called as you watch the show via Facebook and YouTube to share your perspective. We will highly appreciate your call to share something that you can add to our discussion. And then also, if you want to be a part of the show and come live, just send me a message and I will send the link, the invite, so you can come in studio so we can have this discussion. The youth of Liberia are faced with a lot of formidable challenges, you know, and these challenges has prevented them from actually realizing some of the potential they have. And that is why we are going to talk about some of these challenges. Not just natural, but some of them were created because there is no capacity for them to really, unleash their potential. And we have seen, from individual perspective when it comes to capacity building, not just the leadership perspective, but from individual perspective, most of the young people they really need, the opportunity where they can really deliver their full potential because a lot of youth in Liberia, I would attest to that, they have a great potential. And how do you, curve the issue about young people who want to become a future, leader for our country? How do you curve by making things, provide a stability in the sense where you provide those adequate tools and efficiency to help young people achieve and realize their goal. So we are going to talk about youth capacity building in Liberia. The young people, according to the World Bank, by the year 2020, 2080 rather, the young people in Africa, in the world, I think there will be in Africa rather, there will be approximately 500 million young people. So between the age of 15 and 12 to 15, that's what World Bank is saying. World Bank is saying at the year 2080, the younger generation in Africa will be approximately 500 million between the age of 12 to 15. So it just tell you how the younger generation, they are at stake, especially when we talk about female young, a younger generation. So we are going to talk about youth capacity building in Liberia, and I want you to call on the show and share your perspective because this is all about making our country a better country, and we are using this opportunity to share something because we think it is important to invest in youth capacity. Capacity building is very important for our younger generation because they are the one we look up to as our future leader, because they are the one who are going to take over our nation when the time is right. So we have to spend time investing into our younger generation. We have seen the issue of unemployment. We have seen abuse of, let's say, drugs abuse that lead more young people into some illicit practices. And we want to, use this time to call on the government to do more actively or proactively to be able to help our younger generation, especially the young people in Liberia. When I went to Liberia in March, I was surprised that a lot of young people are, just not doing anything, just not doing anything, and that is not, a good sign for any country who want to see a better, society. So we are going to talk about youth capacity building. If you're following the show via Facebook and YouTube, I want to say welcome to the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Ricky Ali, and we are just here for a short time. If you want to be a part of the show, there is a number on the screen. Call that number. The number is 443-312-9435, and just share your perspective on the discussion. So let's dive into what we are here. When we talk about capacity building, what comes to your mind? Capacity building. Capacity building can be from an individual perspective or a leadership perspective. But what is capacity building? Capacity building activity could include leadership development and planning for featured collaboration. Sometimes it can come from a leadership perspective, or it can come from an individual perspective. Like individual perspective would be mentorship, where you have the young people where you can be able to mentor them, tell them, give them some sort of training where they are able to become potential leader in society. So it's very important. Leadership perspective is where you are, trying to instill something that they are able to, present themselves as leader, future leader for our country. So it can range from individual perspective to, let's say, a leadership perspective. So at an individual level, for example, the capacity building activity can consist of training and mentorship. See, at an individual level, you can train somebody, or you can also do what we call the mentorship program. So organizational capacity building activity tend to focus broadly on skill. You see, when you're talking about organization level capacity building for young people, you are talking about certain skill set that you are able to provide for these younger generation, that when we all have life, they can be able to assume some of the leadership responsibility and become a future leader, because that's what we look up to them for. So seek to develop and strengthen the skills and ability of a passionate young individual and a community active in the climate and sustainable peace. Because you see, most of the activity, that's why they have so many youth organizations around the world, where they just discuss vital things that affect their own countries of interest. See? So it's very important that Liberia play a vital role when it comes to youth capacity building. So young people on the continent have aspiration. We got to know that young people in Africa, be it Liberia or any parts of the world, they have aspiration, they have energy, they have ambition. I see most of the young people in Liberia, they have good ambition, but it's just that they don't have the means and the tools needed to fulfill their ambition. So that's why we are saying capacity building is one of the key to helping our younger generation. How do you build a capacity where you can be able to help the young people who have the passion, who have the energy, who have the aspiration to fulfill the dream? How? That's what we are discussing. So if you want to be a part of the show, call that number. The number to call is 443-312-9435 and share your perspective. Or better still, if you want to come live and be a part of the show, you can send me an invite, and you can send me a message, and I will send you an invite. So, or please make some comment as you watch the show on Facebook and YouTube. Make some comment and share the podcast as well. We will highly appreciate you for that. So, like I said, young people have, they have aspiration. Young people in Liberia have aspiration. They have energy. They have ambition. So, how do you fulfill the aspiration of our young people, or the ambition of our young people? Is by building a good capacity, providing the tools necessary for the young people to learn new skill set, we'll come to that momentarily, to learn different skill set. All those things will help to create an economic stability for our country. Because if the young people learn different skill set, like for instance, if I decided, Ricky, I wanted to open a training center in Liberia, a very huge training center where I will have different set of knowledge provided in different area of of study. It could be from bakery, it could be from sewing, it could be from any sort of trade that somebody can learn. Those learning that they will acquire, it become a contributing factor in society, because most likely these kids who have learned, like maybe IT software developer, most of the things they have learned, they will be able to find a job where they can be able to implement these things that they have acquired. So it's very important that we provide a capacity building for young people. So according to World Bank, like I said earlier, World Bank, estimate that between the age of 15 to 24 in Africa is projected to be 500 million by the year 2080. And that tells you the increase in the younger generation. So what do we do? Because Liberia is part of that 500 million, let's say, projection that was made by World Bank. So what do we do to help build capacity? Because the younger people are the future generation of our country. So what do we do? What do we do? And Africa is battling learning crisis. We all know, and even in Liberia is affected by learning crisis. A lot of young people don't even go to school. Even when people are going to school, because of the struggle of how to pay tuition, it's not easy. So more people do not focus on really studying the license. So it is a crisis issue, in Africa, especially Liberia, that we are talking about. Crisis. Millions of children are out of school. Most of those in school are falling behind, or they are failing, on key learning indicator, that is reading, writing, and basic math. Most of the children are falling behind in Liberia because of the situation we find ourselves. So how do you curve? How do you break, some of those cycle and, restore stability in those areas? So that's what we are talking about, youth capacity building in Liberia. What do we do to build a youth capacity in Liberia? One is timely investment. Timely investment in education and health of its population. We need timely, it is important that we have a timely investment in education. Now, education could include not just going to the university, but like I said, building a training, a resource center where people can learn different skill sets. I always mentioned it is very important, and I'm using the opportunity to call on the government, build a capacity building for our younger generation. It's not necessarily got to be going to a university. Education is important because it's a backbone for every, a civilized person or so. But I will tell you this, right? When you build a training center, you provide skill set that people can learn different things and be able to contribute in different area in our spheres in Liberia. So it's very important that we take that seriously and be able to build a capacity a program that enhance a lot of development for our young people, especially the mindset. A lot of young people are not doing anything in Liberia, and the crisis they are faced with a lot of formidable challenges. And I tell you, these challenges are leading them to not even have the opportunity and the basic skill that they need to be able to contribute to society. So it's very important that we try to do our best to make Liberia, a better place. And how do we make Liberia a better place? It's one, by building the capacity for the younger people, because the younger people there, they have aspiration, they have energy, they have ambition. I've seen young people who have the passion, who have the dream. Oh, my brother, I have the skill, I have the things I want to achieve it, but I don't have the support system. I don't have the tools to work with to be able to make this thing happen. So that's what we are saying. Let us build. I'm calling on the government and those in authority to do their best, the best they can, to be able to restore some sort of, capacity building for our young people, to help our young people, because the younger people are the one who are going to take over our country eventually. So we have to provide the necessary tools and things that they need to be able to educate themselves, to be able to learn. When people are educated, I know that a lot of times people have problem with people being educated and not implementing the education. I get that. Some people are educated, but they become what we call a functional illiterate in society. That is, they learn the education, but yet they can implement what they have learned. I know that. But it's important to increase education. When you have a high rate of education, right, there's a possibility that you will have a good, stable society, because people are inclined to doing the right thing because of the knowledge that they have acquired. So, very important. Timely investment rather in education and health of its population can increase productivity, because healthcare is one of the issues too that is a main focus too, because a lot of people in Liberia suffer, as a result of poor healthcare. People who cannot afford to deposit certain money before getting treated, it become a struggle in Liberia. So we are telling the government capacity building is a paramount issue that is at stake, because the younger people in Liberia, they are filled with ambition, energy, and aspiration. So how do we help them to fulfill the energy, the aspiration, and dream? Is by building a capacity where somebody who have the vision, or where somebody who have the skill set, the idea, can learn they learn something based on the tools that you provide for them to implement what they need to acquire and become a successful person in society. So that is also happening in our country, America here, where you see a lot of places they have different training set for younger people to learn something. We can do the same thing. We got to learn to emulate good things when we see them happening for other countries. Emulating things that are good is helpful, because it helps to change the trajectory of your own situation. So it's very important that we try to do our best to improve. The promise of Liberia future leader rests on the large number of young people who are supposed to be part of the new generation of Africa leaders. Yes, you see, the promise, of the younger generation in Liberia rests on our shoulder. We, those that are in government to have to make some sort of, create some sort of avenue for our younger people. You have all the opportunity, make use, of the opportunity you have to be able to build something so that younger people can learn something. It's not necessarily got to be going to University of Liberia. Education is important. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying build something, a resource center where young people can learn different skill set. It could be, software developer. It could be, engineering. It could be mechanic. It could be, different skill set, and let them learn it to the best of their knowledge so that they can be able to contribute to society. Because if people are educated, I tell you, it is a plus for a nation when you have more people who are educated. So integration of young people into key strategic leadership role is essential for sustainable economic growth and development. Yeah. See, when you allow younger people, you train them, you provide the skill set for them, you are building a capacity for the younger, for the future generation. Because why? You create them to become what? That is why I said initially that capacity building can be from it can range from an individual perspective to a leadership perspective. See? So by helping the young people, creating an avenue where they are able to learn different skill set or provide the tools that they need to be able to achieve some of the aspiration and energy, as well as the vision they have, then we will have a better and a stable society. See, we have that. Very important. So sustainable growth and development. You want to have a sustainable growth and development, you have to focus on the younger generation. The younger generation are very important to sustainable growth and development of Liberia. You got to build a capacity. You have, because they have the future leader, the future leadership of Liberia rests on the younger people. So what do we do to help our younger generation? So folks, I know people are flipping through Facebook right now, but if you're watching the show via Facebook and YouTube, I want to say welcome to the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Ricky Ali. Please share the podcast, make some comment. and subscribe as well. We highly appreciate that. And we are talking about youth capacity building in Liberia. What do we do to build youth capacity in Liberia? What do we do? That is why we are having a conversation. So if you want to be a part of the show, call that number 443-912-9435 and share your perspective. Or better still, if you want to come live and be a part of the discussion, send me a message and I will send you an invite. We are discussing capacity building. How do we build capacity for our younger generation? That's what we are saying. The promise of Liberia future leadership rests on a large number of young people. You know that the younger people are the ones who are going to take over. Joseph Yuma Bwaka is not going to remain power for long. Let me say forever, rather. He's going to leave power one day. We'll all leave from here, but at the end of the day, the younger people will take over Liberia. So how do we build build the capacity for the younger people to take over Liberia? Do we want to see the same mess happening over and over in Liberia? No. We have to provide a skill set, and we have to leave a legacy for our younger people to follow, because with that, they are able to know that they can be able to do the right thing for the country. And that's what we want to see, the right thing done in Liberia. So integration of young people into key strategic leadership role is essential for sustainable economic growth and development. Despite historical evidence of young people's contribution to driving changes in political system, the youth in Liberia on a larger scale are absolutely unprepared to transmute Liberia for a change. Yes. See, right now, if you just leave the youth like that, they are unable to transmute Liberia to a good change. But if we create that, if we provide that tools and create that skill set and that capacity building for them, then we are preparing them to take over our nation in the long run. See, that's what we are discussing here, capacity building. How do we build capacity for our younger generation in Liberia? It's very important. The youth in Liberia are faced with formidable challenges, and which has exacerbated, over time, leading to people having limited access to opportunity. See, a lot of people, because of these challenges, formidable challenges that the youth are faced with in Liberia, it has exacerbated, over time, and it causes them to have limited opportunity, limited option for better life. And we want to see the youth in Liberia become one of the focus point. When you educate younger people, right, you are preparing them for the greater things ahead. And you are telling them, oh yeah, this is what we are doing to help you all. We are providing this capacity building training section. It could be from an individual perspective, mentorship. It could be from a leadership perspective, some sort of skill set or leadership skill that you instill into the younger generation, and they become a great people in society, because they are now going to use that skill set and those tools that are provided to help change the trajectory of our country. So it's very important that we take the appropriate step to be able to help our younger people. The youth in Liberia, like I said, they are faced with, so not to mention, we got to look at the female. The younger female are also a huge challenge. They are also facing huge challenge. The female, they are also vulnerable, most likely vulnerable than even a male, because of some of the things that will happen to them between the age of 15 to 24. See, so it's something to the extreme poverty and early potential attacks taken on by youth and teenage girls has over many years limited their chances of achieving the full potential of becoming a better leader. And that's true. How can you allow a girl who is 15-year-old to just be selling, and that girl has a dream and a vision to do something? So the situation presented before them caused them to actually not fulfill their potential. I tell you, a lot of people in Liberia have great potential. A lot of young people have great potential, and it only takes our leadership to do what is necessary to help the young people. Very, very important. The young people need help. We have to help them. So, folks, that is the time we have for tonight. Just something we want to talk about sustainable and about capacity building. And we hope that you were able to watch the show. And please share the podcast as you watch the show. Like and subscribe. We highly appreciate you. Until then, good night.
Those I want me die, I see up in our feet.